You are live. Welcome. Kickback's back, y'all. Hello, everybody. My name is Manuel Lloyd, and I am the Upperman African American Cultural Center Cultural Enrichment Programs Coordinator. And I'm psyched to be back to be hosting ABCC. Upperman's hosting ABCC's conference for the second year in a row, the 30th annual conference. Super, super, super hyped about that. We are streaming live through ABCC's Facebook and Upperman's ABCC's YouTube and Upperman's Facebook. We're about to kick it at Kickb, where we just talk with undergrad and graduate students and kind of get their perspectives on their life in the cultural center, as cultural center kids, as I like to call them, and kind of what they're looking forward to in the conference. So, got a great couple group with me today. It's Kaylin Moon and Sasha McKnight. I will let them introduce themselves. We'll start. We'll start with the home team. So, Sasha, would you introduce yourself to the what was that?
It was little Megan, kind of,
Oh, I could. Okay, I
old
couldn't
Megan.
tell.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody, Sasha McKnight here. I am a graduate student at UNCW. I'm also the graduate fellow for Upperman. I'm in the higher education program. I went to ECU, East Carolina University, for undergrad, and I'm happy to be here and chatting with y'all these next couple of days.
Yes, we love Sasha. If you are been watching Upperman or ABCC social media, that has been Sasha, the social media guru. So super psyched to have her as a part of our team, and all the way from some of our best pals at New Mexico, University of New Mexico, we have Miss Kaylin Moon. Kaylin, would you introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, I would love to. I'm Kaylin Moon. Compared to Sasha, I'm a bit of a baby. I'm a freshman at the University of New Mexico. I'm studying psychology with an interest in social justice. I don't have as much experience, but I am a student leadership director in the University of New Mexico's African American Student Service Office.
The Fro.
Oh, the Fro.
We got the up and we got the fro. We're super excited to have both of them on. Gonna have just a little quick conversation. This was the first day of the conference. So Thursday we had a little pre-con, then a great keynote, which we'll get to in a second. So just want you to kind of tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what are you into? So what are you talk a little about your name and year? What are you what are you kind of known for around campus, or what are your interests? We'll start with Kaylin. What is a quintessential Kaylin? It's like, oh, that's Kaylin.
So, like I said, I'm a freshman, but I think I'm known for my energy and my positivity across campus. I've always been a big spirit leader with school spirit, but I've also been a big culturally diverse advocate about knowledge, education, and accessibility for all students.
Nice, nice, nice. That sounds very similar to Sasha's passion for things.
No, exactly. I mean, verbatim, honestly. The weird thing about me though is just like, well, no, you're a student employee as well. So just working as a student, but also being able to support students as well. I enjoy doing that. I think I'm going to be doing that for the rest of my life, just supporting myself as a student, but also supporting students, most likely students that are of color, most likely students that are Black. Um, but yeah, honestly, Caitlin, you said exactly what I would have said. I like exactly what I would have said.
Awesome.
Twinsies, twinsies.
Yes.
So I'm curious. So Kaylin, you traveled here with University of Mexico staff. Shout out to Brandy Stone and the rest of the squad. Jake Ordine, the part of our podcast that you'll hear tomorrow, talking about me being new to the Cultural Center work. So and Sasha, obviously, even before Sasha was involved as a graduate fellow, she was heavy in the center. Always went back to check on staff members to see how we were doing and involved in all our programming. So, kind of, how did you get involved with your cultural center? Like, were you one of those who, like, first day? I mean, obviously, Kaylin, like, you're a freshman, so first day
Right,
you were in. But
right.
how did y'all kind of get involved and get engaged with your cultural centers?
Well, I started before our fall semester even started. Our cultural center offers a summer bridge program for incoming freshmen, kind of bridging the gap between high school and college education, but it also acts as kind of a home away from home for a lot of students in New Mexico because of the Black population in New Mexico being so small. It allowed an all Black cohort of students to make connections before you get on campus. So that's how I got involved and connected with the Fro. And then in fall, they opened up work study positions, and I became a student leadership director there.
Nice. Sasha, how about you? Were you heavily involved in your multicultural center at ECU? I know we had a friend, Sean Simon, who used to run the center there, Miss Sean. But kind of how did you get involved in your in?
Yeah, well, at ECU, yeah, we had a multicultural center. I used to go to the events mostly, not really involved like in leadership positions, but definitely going to every event that was hosted. I was really heavily like in the community engagement, civic engagement type stuff. But they kind of go hand in hand. They're in the same department. But when I came here to UNCW, well, when I knew I was coming to Wilmington, I already knew like New Mexico was a small Black population. I'm like, okay, so if I'm gonna go, like, I needed to make sure I have my people there. And literally, I'm like, I don't even know what I looked at. I don't even know. I have no idea what I looked up to find Upperman, but I did. I knew like, okay, this is the place I need to be. And I went to Sankofa. Was invited to Sankofa, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can get down with this. I really can. And I think I just started just showing up, really. And then here I am, second year, and I work here, and I'm happy. I'm really happy to actually work here.
Well, we're super happy to have you. I definitely can, or I can relate to y'all. I was heavily involved with I went to UNCW, so I was involved in Upperman almost from day one. Although I got to give credit to my mom because she was like, you should go to this. You should go to the Black Cultural Center event. We're to St. Coast." I was like, I might go. She's like, no, we're going. I was like, okay. And then I walked in, and apparently never left since now I work here. But yeah, so what does it mean? Obviously, you all are engaged in your cultural center, so you know what you think is important. But what does it mean for you to have a Black cultural center? It can either be for you as an undergrad or graduate student, or just you as a student in general. But what does it mean, and why do you feel like it is important? Why do you feel like Black cultural centers in particular are important?
I can go to, as someone who didn't come from a institution that had a Black culture center. I never even thought of that being a culture centers, even being Black cultural centers even being alive on PWI campuses. I had no idea until I came here. I think I would have benefited. So, I mean, as much resources that I had at ECU, I definitely would have benefited from a Black culture center. Excellent, beautiful Black community at ECU, but an actual center, an actual location, an actual space where I know Black folks are in and out. I can have a good time. I can have those conversations. I can ask those questions. I can go to those events. That's what really made me want to stay here at Wilmington. Just coming to UP and having those relationships, intimate relationships, genuine relationships, and not like kind of like a high buy type thing. So I think that's something that I'm taking from Black culture centers.
I can definitely account to what you're saying about appreciating a space where you're appreciated, especially in New Mexico where it's a minority majority state, but Black people are still the biggest minority there. You don't have a lot of people that look like you. So I can appreciate a space where I see comfort and I see representation of people who look like me. And I think that a lot of students on UNM's campus can relate to that, specifically the Black students on UNM's campus. But I think it also stands true and bold in the fact that it shows how far we've kind of come in an education stance. Like I know the Fro was started by our Black Student Union, and so it kind of just I hold our cultural center as a token of the people before me's hard work.
Absolutely. And I also think a culture center, especially here, is just to learn more about your Black culture. I've learned so much history, stuff of just about myself as a Black woman. I think that also is something that you get from a Black Cultural Center as well, just learning.
No, I think Kaylin, I really like what you said, talking about kind of really talking about the token of those came before you, really talking about legacy and how Black culture centers keep the legacy of Black students, Black student life, Black student achievements in spaces where if they didn't do it, it wouldn't be done and not accounted for. I really think you make a really good point with that. Um, so you both, Sasha, you were here for the pre-con. Kaylin, I know you and him was telling me about y'all fun little travel excursions y'all had. So y'all got here in time for the dinner keynote, which were actually the same. So it was not doctor, but Miss Victoria Smalls, the executive director of the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor. For those who don't know, the Gullah Geechee Heritage Corridor the Gullah Geechee were people, an ethnic enclave that lived on the Sea Islands of the East Coast, so from Wilmington down to about St. Augustine, Florida, kept a lot of their unique ethnic and West African culture and traditions while kind of merging them with their new with European traditions, as well as they were forced to learn as well as indigenous traditions from just kind of the intermingling. And so they were from this area. And so the executive director of the commission that really studies and preserves their history was here, Mrs. Victoria Smalls. She gave a pre-con and then gave our keynote lecture. Both were really outstanding. I was wondering what you thought of the speaker of the keynote tonight, and if there was anything in particular that maybe stood out from it, that maybe stood out for you in regards to tonight.
Well, that was for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think she was amazing. I think she was brilliant. Not only in the way that like we learned about Gullah Geechee culture and the traditions, but kind of connecting all of that to different resources and different allocations of Black people, like connecting different stories and how they're all the same. And I think that can kind of be true in a modern setting where the Black story in America is, while we all have our own personal narratives, the meta narrative is almost the same for everybody Black in America. And I kind of saw a tie between then and now, and I really appreciated that. But I also appreciated the fact that I got to gain knowledge because, again, as a New Mexican, as a Black New Mexican, you're kind of secluded from like other Black cultures because it's just you in New Mexico. Like there's not many other Black people. So coming here and getting to learn that and kind of getting to relate that to my experience in my hometown and my state, I really appreciated that.
So Kaylin, I'm gonna let Sasha answer the question. So you're actually you were born and raised in New Mexico as
Yes, I was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, lived there. But 2 years ago, I lived in a very conservative town in Texas. But I went back home to New Mexico just because of the minority majority. But yes, I was born and raised in New Mexico.
Yeah, I do think it's so. I'm a Southern boy, so I was born in North Carolina, lived here all my life, and I do think it's interesting because when we think about this, when you think about the South, you automatically think like racism HQ. But you're not the first person to tell me that, like, out west and Southwest, there may not be. It's a different type of experience than that we don't normally get shown in pop culture or media. So I think you're just kind of continuing on a trend that I've definitely heard in conversation with folks, even folks out in Oregon or Utah, about how being Black out west is it can be kind of like you said, an isolating experience.
Yeah.
So Sasha, I know you got to hear Victoria kind of twice today. What were kind of your thoughts on her work and just kind of what you heard today between both of the sessions?
Super dope. So she said something that I thought about. I didn't know about. I'm from New York, but I've lived in the South majority of my life as well, and I've never heard of Gullah Geechee folks or Gullah Geechee culture. Just even like American history, when we learned like North Carolina history. I've it never came up. Um, but my grandparents are from the Caribbean, and um, they have no idea what Gullah Geechee is. Like, I have no idea. But I remember my mom going to Charleston, and she overheard people speaking just how they spoke in Barbados. And people have a hard time understanding what people say. Well, Bajans, what they are saying. So when she heard, she's like, wait, what? Like, you sound just like my dad, and no one understands him. So I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm here in Wilmington. I'm learning about this Gullah Geechee culture. Never in my life have I ever learned about it, but I knew I was supposed to be in Wilmington to learn about this particular group of people, this culture. But I enjoyed it so much. Sean is actually teaching a Gullah Geechee class right now, and I actually just presented on language. At my undergrad, I wanted to be a speech therapist, but yeah, that didn't work out. Here I am. And I'm happy. I'm happy. But I always talked about Black children in particular who were always corrected when they talked, and or when they spoke, or when some things that they were right. And I'm like, hold on, if the teacher understands what they're saying, you know what they mean, why are you trying to correct them? And I'm so glad she brought up code switching. I'm so glad she brought up assimilation. I'm so glad that she's still incorporating her language in spaces like this, so that people can understand, like, oh, I can do whatever, I can say whatever I want, because the message is still as clear as day. It's just not what the white person says. So
Yeah. That's, I think, kind of going to your point about Barbados. There is a big connection between Barbados, in particular, North Carolina, and even more particularly Wilmington.
mm-hmm.
So that's why when some folks have said that, well, isn't really evidence of a Gullah Geechee presence in Wilmington. There are a lot of other factors that state otherwise.
Yeah.
Definitely love to let you bring about the language. Because I, having lived in Wilmington, it wasn't until I started working at Upperman that I had even heard about Gullah Geechee as well. And then hearing it does have kind of what we probably associate with like a Caribbean
Yeah.
kind of sound to it. I love hearing it and listening to it. Like it does have this kind of like melodic nature to it,
Mm-hmm.
and to think that people were like, oh, it was dumb and it was ineloquent, and how a lot of people have gotten rid of it. And thinking about Wilmington being the top of the corridor, and how what I often hear told about people in Wilmington is that like people can't place our accents. Like they can't. Some people are like, y'all sound like you're from New Jersey, or you sound like you're from New North, or like y'all don't really have like a Southern accent. And so that makes me think about what might have been lost, and then
Mm-hmm.
how can we go and recover that. So I agree. Her not bit, but her piece on language was very impactful, for real. Um, I'm gonna let y'all get out of here because it is still a Thursday, and it's getting a little late, but I also could be an old man. That 10:30 is late for me. We have a great rest of the conference, jam packed the next couple of days. What are you looking forward to most at in the conference? Is it a certain lecture? Is it conversing with other students and staff, whether it be virtually or in person? We'll start with Sasha. What are you looking most forward to these next couple of days?
I'm definitely excited just to meet people and just to chat. Quite frankly, I've been ready to meet Black New Mexicans, like a New Mexicoans. Am I saying it right, Palin?
New Mexicans, yeah.
New Mexicans, I'm excited. Like, I'm excited, but I'm also excited to see Deshaun Harrison. I'm a fan of their work, and I'm a fangirl. So I'm excited to see their presentation. I'm excited to just listen and learn. Yeah.
Nice. Kayla, anything in particular for you that's jumping out that gets you going?
I agree. I'm a huge people person. I love talking to people, and I'm a social butterfly for sure. But that's only if I have my coffee in the morning. Um, I'm definitely excited about networking and kind of finding similar experiences and similar traditions with people across the country, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm definitely excited to meet some North Carolinians, if I said that right.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see one of my coworkers present, Jay Gordine. They're amazing, and I've seen their presentation, and I'm just excited for them to share the knowledge that I've already gained with everybody else.
Yeah, super excited for Jay and the rest of the presenters. We have presentations on creating Black Film Festival, brand management, dealing with Black students in PWIs and their kind of their disposability and how we combat that. Deshaun Harrison will be our brunch keynote speaker tomorrow. Definitely check out their work. Brilliant mind. Actually related to Cedric Harrison, notable community activist here in the city. That's their brother, as their sibling. So and so one day when I was talking to Deshaun, I was looking at them and I was like, they look just like Cedric. it was a little uncanny. So yeah, really excited. You'll get to see Kaylin and Sasha. And if we get any other couple students on here, you'll be seeing them the next couple of nights. Kick Blacks will be every night, 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday. I'll be here Friday. I'll probably be here Saturday, but you might get a different host Saturday. Who knows? But I want to just shout out. We're almost there. It's late, y'all. We're going since 9. Shout out to Sasha. Shout out to Sasha. Tongue twister. Shout out to Sasha. Shout out to Kaylin.
I heard him.
I had like the 7th time, the 8th time messed up. Shout out to Kaylin. I think Karen Jenkins has mentioned asked the lecture recorded that we were speaking on. It is recorded, and as we get through the end of the conference, maybe a few weeks after, we will try to have that up for folks to see. Shout out to our 2 Kick Black students. You will see them again. My name is Manny Lloyd. Hope you all enjoy the rest of the conference. If you're watching for any of our conference attendees, and for all of our Facebook friends and YouTube friends, stay tuned every night this week, Friday and Saturday at 10 p.m. See y'all tomorrow.